Welcome back. I'm Sam sir, and this is the last part of the second chapter of your geography textbook, Physical Features of India. As you know, that the physiographic features of India can be studied under six headings, and out of that, two headings we have seen in the part two of this chapter, and the remaining we'll be studying in this chapter. The topics we'll be studying here are the Peninsular Plateau. Peninsular Plateau can be divided into two parts, Central Highlands and the Deccan Plateau. And Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats are not separate physiological features, but they are the two margins of the Deccan Plateau. Then we'll be studying what is the Indian desert, the coastal plains, and the islands. The Peninsular Plateau can be divided into two parts, the Central Highlands and the Deccan Plateau. The Central Highlands are from the north of Narmada River, covering the major part of Malwa Plateau, and it has got Vindhyas and the Aravallis as borders. On the western side, westwards, they merge with the Great Indian Desert. The major rivers here are Chambal, Sindh, Betwa, and the Ken rivers, and this uh, part of India is sloping from southeast to northeast side. The eastern extension of the plateau is called as Chota Nagpur. Like I told you, that this portion, the central portion, is the central plateau, and it has got the Aravalli Hills, which is from Delhi to almost touching Gujarat, and Satpura and Vindhyachal, and we have Chota Nagpur on the right hand side, on the east side. The Deccan Plateau is a triangular landmass to the south of Narmada River, and to the north it has got Satpura Range, to the east Mahadev Hills, Camor Hills, and Michael Range from top to bottom. And Deccan Plateau is higher in the west and slopes gently to the east. This point is important for you to understand. This is the reason why most of the peninsular river empty into the Bay of Bengal and not into the Arabian Ocean. Only there are four rivers emptying into the Arabian Ocean. Then Meghalaya and Karbi Anglong Plateau are extensions of Deccan Plateau, and these are separated from Chota Nagpur by a fault. By this time, you know what is a fault. The prominent hill ranges from west to east are Garo, Khasi, and Jaintia hills, and Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats mark the west and east edges of the Deccan Plateau, respectively. They lie parallel to the west coast and east coast, respectively. This is the Deccan Plateau. It's triangular because the Indian peninsula is triangular in shape. Yeah, we have Mahadev Hills, Camor Hills, and Michael Hills. And here we have Garo, Khasi, and Jaintia Hills. Now let's study about the Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghats. Western Ghats are on the western margin of India, touching the Arabian Sea. Right from Gujarat, passing through Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, and Kerala. These are almost continuous Ghats. Eastern Ghats are less continuous in nature, and they start from uh, Jharkhand and go up to Tamil Nadu. Now let's study about them one by one. Western Ghats are higher than the Eastern Ghats. The elevation is greater, between 900 and 1600 meters, and the height progressively increases from north to south. And finally, in the south, we have the highest peak known as Anaimudi, which is 2695 meters, and it's a continuous stretch and can be crossed only via passes. Now this causes orographic rain by facing the rain-bearing winds rising from the western slopes of the graph. Now orographic rains are rains when the rain-bearing clouds go over hilly areas, mountain areas. They cool down, and before they go over fully, they release their rain. So such rain is known as orographic rain. The Eastern Ghats, they extend from Mahanadi Valley to the Nilgiris, and these are discontinuous, not as continuous as the Western Ghats were. These are discontinuous and irregular stretch because of the rivers draining into Bay of Bengal. I already told you that the Deccan Plateau is sloping towards the east, and this is the reason many of the rivers flow into the Bay of Bengal. Its average elevation is much lesser than the average elevation of the Western Ghats, just 600 meters. The highest peak here is Mahendragiri, 1501 meters. Now, this is a familiar scene for you, for all of us who live in Rajasthan. This is the Indian desert, hot and sandy, or can be very cold also, but we don't see much rain here. This is where it is located on the northwest of the Aravalis, and on the south it has a border with the Rann of Kutch, and westwards uh, it has got the border of our Indian, the international border with Pakistan, and on the north, the northern plains. Location I have already told you. These are undulating sandy plains with sand dunes. It has got very low rainfall, less than 150 millimeter per year. Some parts of the uh, uh, Mizoram experiences more rainfall per day than this place experiences per year. And because of this arid climate, it has got very low vegetation cover. Streams appear during rainy seasons. These are seasonal streams. They do not have enough water to reach the sea, so they disappear into sand. The longest river here is Loni River. Sands are of several types. In this chapter, we are going to study only two. One is known as Barchand, or these are crescent shaped sand dunes. The other one is known as CF. They are sand dunes which are almost parallel to each other. Now let's see the coastal plains. When we say the coastal plains, these are located on in the coast of the country, and so it has got the sea on one side. Here it has got the Arabian Sea, and here it has got the Indian Bay of Bengal, and below we have the Indian Ocean. And the coastal areas is between the sea and the Western Ghats here on the western side, and between the Bay of Bengal and the Eastern Ghats in the eastern side. On both the sides is divided into parts. The northern part from Gujarat to Maharashtra is known as Konkan coast, and from Goa till Karnataka is known as Kannad coast, and in the Kerala region is known as Malabar coast. Similarly, from West Bengal to almost near touching the Tamil Nadu, it is known as Northern Sarkar, and below in the south it is known as Coromandel coast. The location is, like I told you, between Arabian coast and the and along the Bay of Bengal coast. These are located on the western edge and the eastern edge of the peninsula, respectively. The western coastal plain is located between Arabian Sea and the Western Ghat. It has got three sections, like I told you: Konkan, Kannad, and Malabar coast. The eastern coastal plain is located between Bay of Bengal and Eastern Ghats. These are wide and level, and there are two sections, Northern Sarkar and Coromandel on the south. Large rivers such as Kaveri, Mahanadi, Godavari, and Krishna River form large deltas on the eastern coastal plains. And Chilika Lake is the largest saltwater lake in India. This is located in the eastern coastal plains of India. We have two major groups of islands, Lakshadweep and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Lakshadweep has got coral origin, means it's formed by the debris of old corals. This is off the Malabar coast in the Arabian Sea, and the best way to reach there is to fly from or to sail from Cochin. Total number of islands there are 36, out of which only 10 are inhabited. Inhabited. This is a union territory with Kavaratti Island as its capital. Area of all islands altogether is just 32 square kilometers, and coral reef is in abundance in the sea, and this is rich in marine wildlife. There's one bird sanctuary also on Pitli Island. The Lakshadweep Islands have a coral origin, like I told you. Now let's see the location from near the Malabar coast and accessible from Cochin. These are corals. These are corals, and they are calcareous in nature. And when they disintegrate, they form coral islands. And Lakshadweep has got coral origin. Andaman and Nicobar Island is in the Bay of Bengal. It's believed to be the top of submerged mountain ranges. There's only one active volcano in India, and it is located in the Barren Islands, and it's 138 kilometers from Port Blair. There are two groups of islands. The northern group is known as Andaman, and the southern group is known as Nicobar. There are totally 572 islands, out of which 38 are inhabited. It's an union territory with Port Blair as its capital, a total surface area of 8,250 square kilometer. This is again rich in wildlife and biodiversity. There are some species of plants and animals which are found nowhere else on Earth. This is the map of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. These are Andaman Islands. This is where Barren Island is located. This is where the only active volcano of India is located. Both the sides of it is my surname, Samuel Lawrence. So we have Henry Lawrence and John Lawrence. Then we have Little Andaman, and then we have the Nicobar Islands. And as you know, the southernmost point of India is Indira Point, when you also consider the Nicobar Islands and not just the Indian subcontinent. This is a picture from the of the Barren Island. This is the only volcano which is active in India. Thanks for watching, and like and watch all the three videos. Alternate between reading the notes which I have given to you and watching these videos. Bye.